The Bills make me wanna shout.
Now back to Kenny and JT on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now.
How about this?
You like that, huh?
Got you a fight song today.
I like it. I like it a lot.
And we're all joining the Bills Mafia because your Steelers are out. My Browns never get there. So I'm figuring, usually when we talk NFL playoff action, we have maybe a beat reporter from somewhere or whatever. And I was thinking to myself, okay, we got a guy in Detroit. We got a guy in Pittsburgh. We got a guy in Cleveland. We've even got people in Cincinnati, Kentucky. We choose not to use them this time of year because we've got a team that's alive, a team that's pretty close to where we're at right now. What do you think Buffalo's like 2.5 hours away?
I wonder if I have more snow in Medina than they do in Buffalo right now. That's how bad the weather is.
So let me set up this interview. So last week, Bills are in the playoffs. They're playing Jacksonville. My buddy's a huge Buffalo Bills fan. Now, we've all grown up with people that root for other teams. You're one of my best friends. You're a Steeler fan. My brother's a Cowboy fan. Frank Solona is a Vikings fan. Why? I don't know. But my buddy John Piccone is a huge Buffalo Bills fan. So to set this up, I'm like, hey, man, why are you a Buffalo Bills fan? He goes, because when I was a kid, there was a wide receiver there, you see, and his name was Lou Piccone. His name still is Lou Piccone. And Lou Piccone is joining us right now somewhere in Buffalo, number 89 in your program, number 1 in the heart of the Buffalo Bills. Remember, Kenny, they're saying Lou Piccone.
They're not booing him.
Hey, Lou, thanks for joining us today. Happy New Year. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, fellas. I see you guys have a good time, so I'm glad to join you.
Lou, I got to tell you, we have the opportunity every week to interview Pro Football Hall of Famers. It's part of this residency program. A couple of weeks ago, we had Drew Pearson in. He's the original number 88 of the Dallas Cowboys. But you, sir, the original number 89, my high school number, by the way, the original number 89 from the Buffalo Bills.
Well, that number 89 was passed on to another guy, and his name is Steve Tasker. And Steve did a lot of the same things, and we were very highly active, and we were like Swiss Army knives, When you needed it, you had the blade. So that's, the only thing I can say is I was basically the original, 89 for the categories of do everything, okay? Who are you going to call? Give it to Lou. Give it to Lou. I'm the Mikey of the NFL. Give it to Lou. That type of thing. And so that meant that no matter what, by the time I got to the Bills and later on in the Bills, my career, I played 9 different positions with the ability to play 12. You figure the positions out, and basically they'd stick me in there. When somebody else couldn't go, I'd be that backup. Backup and starters. So that's what I made my living at for 10 years in the NFL.
That's awesome. Lou Piccone, our guest, former Bill and Jet. Do you even remember and talk about your time with the Jets, or no? It's all Bills.
Well, mostly it's Bills, but when you're talking to different people, they remember me as a Jet because I got traded from there, never got out of New York State, and/or never got away from the taxes. Okay, so you always know where you are. And basically, I got traded up here, and here's a good one. I got traded to a team that was actually worse than us. We won. That's when we did 14 games, and we won 2. We beat Buffalo. We won 3 games. We beat Buffalo twice and Tampa Bay, the expansion team. And the only team that was worse than us was Buffalo. They only won 2.
Oh man!
So I was really excited to be traded up here to Buffalo. But really, when I got here, I found out just how wonderful the Buffalo community is, what kind of fans they have, and there's no better fans in the NFL than right here in Buffalo, New York.
We're all in the same boat because it's the Rust Belt. Whether it's Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Cleveland, it seems like it's the same team usually, although the Browns have been in the tank the last decade, seems like. But it's the same. Everybody's cut from the same cloth. Hardworking town, hardworking team, blue collar, so to speak, and that is what Lou Piccone is all about. Now, you mentioned the fact, 10-year NFL career, 77 to 83 with the Bills. You're a wide receiver. You're also a punt returner, and you are a wedge breaker. Explain. I mean, to tell you, that's the toughest position in sport.
Yep.
It's so tough they did away with it, Lou. Talk about that.
Well, in my career, there was a guy that played alongside of me with the Jets. His name was Mike Adamle. Mike Adamle was number 1 on his jersey, number 1 in my heart, and we were both wedge breakers. Okay, 2 short white guys busting wedges from R1 and L1, which was either side of the center, and you'd go down and well, I'll give you an experience. We were on the road with the Jets for the first 5 games, I think, and we came home because of baseball in Shea Stadium. So we come home and we hadn't won a ball game, and Mike and I are just frustrated, just like everybody else is. So we're going to try to do something. Okay, so we made a pact. The first one that gets down there hits the wedge, goes down, takes it low. The other one go up and over.
Unreal.
Okay,
Man.
so now so that's what happens. And this is actually and this was the first game, this was the first season, and this is when when I used to get on the field, they used to go, Lou, Lou, and Cosell says, Vans, they're not booing, they're looing, But that's so the first time it happened, I went down, and I happened to be the guy going up and over. Mike took it out from below. I go up and over, stoned the ball carrier, knocked the ball loose, and was on all fours and jumped over and jumped on the ball. So now I knocked the guy down and out, got the ball. I almost got up and took off. So I get up. So it's a great play, right? It's a great play. Mike's coming over, give me 5. And all I'm hearing is, boo, boo. And I'm saying, Jesus, well, what do you got to do around here to get somebody to cheer for you, And I knew we hadn't won a ball game, so I'm coming off the field, and here comes Namath, and I'm listening. I'm going, Mike, Jesus, what do you got to do? And here comes Namath, and he's coming off the field, and and I'm coming off the field, and he goes, ain't that the damnest thing I ever seen? Okay. Because he was from Alabama, had
Right.
that southern accent. That now the ball was going the other way, and that's what special teams are. Special teams are momentum changers, and the guys who play special teams that are hot, they make big plays, and all of a sudden you're going the other way. They're stopping momentum. So momentum changers on special teams are very, very important people to have, and I was one of them. And bottom line is, that's what my career was. Whatever you needed, give it to Lou. He'll do it.
Love it.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Lou Piccone, JT.
Yeah.
We've had the other Piccone on this. So this is 2 Piccones now we've had on the show,
Wait,
right?
It gets better. Get this.
Okay.
I was doing a little background check on Lou Piccone, number 89 of the Buffalo Bills. Now, a couple of things that come to mind. And you mentioned Joe Namath. You started out, you played with Joe Namath and for Lou Holtz when you started at the New York Jets. Now, here's something else. My buddy, John Piccone, ends up being a Buffalo Bills fan because share the same name, but you share something even deeper. I saw that, Lou, your father was a boxer. And Guido Piccone, Canton, Ohio, he was a boxer too.
It must be in the gene and in the blood. My father was also an immigrant, from Italy, and he was a knockout artist, 5'7", light heavy. Okay, light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And in the family we had a lot of athletes, and so but as far as going the distance, that's what my father and I had a little discussion at one point in my career, and I was set out to prove that either I can make it or I'll bomb. Whatever I got to do to get there. If I ain't good enough, well then I'll get cut. But the guy who's cutting me has got to know what he's doing, and that's what I did. I took it that far. I played a couple years of minor league ball.
Right.
My father was a fighter. My uncle Pick, who was his brother, played for Notre Dame back in the Leahy, the head coach. His name was Leahy, and he played back in I want to say the late 30s. So you're going back. There's history, there's athleticism, and so I had a challenge, and I accomplished that, and so God was good to me, kept me alive and healthy, and I went the distance.
This is a great story because you lived everyone's dream. Every kid grew up in this area, wanted to play in the NFL. We're going to talk about that path, but before, let's remember Lou Piccone is a product of New Jersey, ends up playing at West Liberty State. Now, we have something else in common because a local guy that was fantastic here in town, Mark Murphy, was a fantastic player at West Liberty, ends up being a safety at the Green Bay Packers. And if I'm not mistaken, you're the only two NFL guys that ever played a down that went to West Liberty. But you also mentioned the fact that you played minor league football and you played here in the state of Ohio. How does a guy play pro ball in Youngstown, end up with the Jets and the Bills?
Okay, all right. Now you're digging back into my past.
That's it.
I get out of college. I went to my head coach. I went to the head coach, and I said, "Do you think I can play pro ball?" Because that's what you always wonder, right? Mm-hmm. And we went to the Nationals and the NAIA, and he said, he looked at me, and I was 165 pounds, 5'8". Okay, wow. And he said, "Well, Lou," he said, "look, because we went to the Nationals. A lot of it was on me, from the standpoint of what I did as a running back. And I got so I got beat up pretty good. You're going through the tackles and stuff like that, tackle to tackle. So anyway, I get home. The Wheeling Ironmen were a semi-pro team in Wheeling, West Virginia. And so that was the only other objective or the only other avenue if you weren't drafted. Of course, nobody was looking at West Liberty State College for a short white guy at 5'8", 168 pounds, right? Right. And so, there you are. And then, so with my luck, it would seem to be my luck, the Wheeling Ironmen, they folded. And I had talked with a bunch of guys, and that's where I was going to go there. Well, they folded. So I gave it up, came home to Jersey, and became a teacher, because I had my degree and so forth. So I was teaching school. And I get a call from George Rodak. My mother answers the phone, and my father's semi-retired.
Okay.
And she picks it up. She gives me the phone. I get on the phone, and he goes, "This Lou Piccone?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "This is Lou Piccone to play for West Liberty?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, listen, my name is George Rodak, and, I wanted to find out, I'm the head coach of the, and I wanted to find out if you wanted to play professional football." And I said, "Who is this?" I said, "He said, George Rodak." I said, and what's the team?" He says, "The Youngstown Hard Hats." And I said, "Oh, wait a minute, man. You mean semi-pro?" He said, "Yeah." And my father's listening to this conversation because he's sitting down at the table, midday here. He's semi-retired. And I said, "So what are you going to pay?" He said, "Well, $50 a ball game if you start." And I said, "Oh, I see. You want me to come from South Jersey to Youngstown, Ohio for $50 a ball game, and I got a job. Okay, I'm teaching school." But the fact of the matter that he mentioned pro football, and then he said, "Well, we're scouted heavily, Philly, the Steelers, Cleveland," and so my heart was pounding. Okay, I'm thinking, and so this guy calls me, and so anyway, I said, I don't know. I said, "I'll call you back." In fact, that I was even thinking about it was preposterous. So anyway, I get off the phone. My father now had went through this with his brothers about trying to make the pros, and he went through it himself. So he looked at me and he says, "Who is that?" I told him. He said, "What do you want?" I told him. So "What are they going to pay you?" I told him. He said, "Jesus, son." He said, you got your education," because I earned a scholarship. I was a walk-on. And he said, "You got your education. You got a job. Okay. It's time for you." And then he said, "And besides, it's time for you to use your brains instead of your brawn. And you got hurt a lot in college." And I looked at him and I said, I thought to him and I said, Is that what you thought, Pop? Is that what you think? You think I'm too small?" I said, "Well, we're just going to have to find out about that."
Wow.
And those words that come out of your mouth, okay, at an age when I often wondered. There was a guy that came out of Ohio State, and he was a Heisman Trophy winner. And I said, I'm trying to think of his name, and I can't right now. Been hit a lot, he said he was a Heisman Trophy winner, and he was only 5'8", 5'9", 175 pounds.
Was that Archie Griffin? Was that Archie Griffin?
Yeah. Archie Griffin. Mm-hmm. So I said, what's the difference between him and me? I didn't know. I'm going to find out. So I started that trek, and I had no clue what it was going to take to make it. Took me 2 years. They were in that strike mode, and I made it because they had those open tryouts. I got cut the first time. I've been subjected to a lot of illegal things that they do with people when they're trying to hide them. I was hidden first. I went and played in Youngstown, Ohio, with the George Rodak. I called him back immediately when I told my dad that. I called him back and I said, George, this is Lou Piccone. He said, yeah, Lou. I said, when's your camp? He said, the camp is in May, June. I said, I'll be there. I said, you got a training program? And he said, yeah. I said, send it. So That's when I started. Every day, 7 days a week, 3 times a day.
That's a great story.
3 times a day. That's it.
Unreal, and it leads to 10 years in the National Football League. You proved everybody wrong, and you made one guy, John Piccone, your biggest fan. You reached somebody like nobody's reached John before, whether it was your last name, your style of play, or whatever, and he is the biggest diehard Buffalo Bills fan we know, along with the Cavaliers announcer, Tim Alcorn.
Lou, I watched the Jacksonville game with him. He's got your jersey in a frame signed in his basement.
Really?
It's awesome.
Well, it was really something. It was the thrill of my life to play at that level and to be able to. I never made any money, but I sure made a lot of. I sure had a lot of fans, and that's the key. You play, you played for. I played for that for satisfaction. My personal satisfaction, my family, my dad and mom, I made them very, very happy, and I went the distance. And that's something when you can say that.
Well, you got a couple of fans here on the Kenny and JT show here in Canton, Ohio. You're welcome anytime you make it down. I mean, what is it, 2.5 hours from Buffalo? You're still living in Buffalo, right?
I'm still in Buffalo.
That's
still
crazy.
Here.
Real quick. Are they going to win this weekend, Lou? Give us a quick thought from you on the Bills game this weekend.
Well, what they have is an array of athletes, and they've been able to put it together when they needed it. Okay, somebody always come up with the play. Let's hope that scenario stays. But I really do think there are people on that team that rise to the occasion. Okay, you got a leader on the team with Allen that, regardless, he's in the game. If he's in the game, you're in the game. Okay, and he rises to the occasion and does the very best. Doesn't get flustered, doesn't get shook, and as long as you got them, you got him, and you have a group of. This is the way I look at it. Okay, it's personal. That means remember that old saying, there is no I in team,
right?
Well, my career reflected this. The only thing in team is I, because if I ain't here, it don't matter. That means the Turk. Okay, the guy who comes around cutting people, I had to stay one step ahead of him. All right, and so the only thing that matters is you make the play. It's on you. You never know when.
And how about this?
Yeah,
Lou. How about this? We talk about your last name and John Piccone, Lou Piccone. You just mentioned the Turk that would cut guys in the NFL. My partner's name, we call him JT. Guess what his last name is, Lou?
Come on.
It's Turk. How about that?
Full circle, ain't it?
You tell him I'm glad to stay one step ahead of you.
Hey, listen, I'm the one who reached out to you. You just remember that now.
Hey, listen, you got my number.
You got it, babe.
Hey, before we let you go, Lou, how about you giving a shout-out to the biggest Bills fan who shares your last name, John Piccone? What would you like to say to your biggest fan out there?
Well, John, you've been my fan. Okay, if you've been my fan, you've been a Bills fan. And let's get together and let's make it the only team to go to the Super Bowl, okay? Go to the Super Bowl because it was the AFC Championship in 1964-5 with the Bills, okay? And let's make it the Piccone sign off. The Super Bowl, the Bills Super Bowl in 2026. The fix in 2026.
There we go.
I love it.
Okay.
That's awesome. Lou, you're the best, man. Thanks so
Lou.
much for coming on with us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, it's been my pleasure, fellas, and thank you for thinking of me. And you tell Johnny he's on my mind, okay?
Got it, man.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Lou.
Here he is, Kenny. Number 89. Lou
That's
Piccone of the
awesome.
Buffalo Bills.
That was
Think it's a
awesome,
joke?
man. Oh. Love it, man. That was fantastic.
You know what, Kenny?
man.
When you get an interview like that, and we talk to a lot of professional athletes, we talk to people that are owners, we talk to people that are managers. You talk to a guy like this, it's like you've known him your entire life.
Right? How cool is that? And he appreciates things like this. He doesn't mind doing them because it takes him down memory lane. And what great story. We need to get him back on again, and we'll get John Piccone in studio with us. How's that?
He'll turn into Chris Farley. He'll be like, remember that time? You returned that punt.
Oh, that's great. All right, let's get a break in right now, JT. We'll come back. We got plenty more of the Kenny and JT show coming your way after this.
Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo.
It's Kenny and JT on WHBC.
Make me wanna